Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be jumping into a topic that I wanted to cover in regards to creating a YouTube channel. Now, don't mind if I'm looking down a little bit. I have a little bit of notes that I had in front of me. But with that said, we're going to jump into it. I've had a couple of friends I knew and people I know around me who asked the kind of question of how would I get started if I wanted to go into that space? So here's a few things I want to cover on the basics. I'm not going to go into the details of the heavy dive of from like a professional deep standpoint because I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm fairly new to it myself, but I just want to give a little bit of tidbit advice on, I want to say some of the realer things that a person should really kind of focus on and get a sense of in terms of getting things started nowadays. And things were definitely different before in the past, where I think that when YouTube was first booming, or in kind of any platform you want to go into, but we're going to speak primarily on YouTube. If a person wanted to go into this space, say like 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I think that because it wasn't so saturated, it was a little easier for a person to just kind of dive in. Now there's a lot of things that are different. And I'm going to talk from the experience that I know. So I can't really speak on how it was, say 10, 15 years ago, but I could speak on how it is now and give a sense of how I think things might be different versus what they may have been before, but I wasn't in the creative space back at that time. So as far as getting started, I would say just find a topic that works for you. Don't try to find a topic. So there's two different ways you could do it. You could do it based on your interest and you could do it based on a business. And what I mean by that is this. You could do it based on an interest, and that's usually the way people will go with, but make sure that if you're doing it based on an interest, that it's a topic that you're really interested in and it's something where you are passionate about. You're not going to run out of content about. You're not going to run out of times, like things to talk about. You won't mind going live at times, having an audience that you can go back and forth with because that you feel passionate about the idea of the subject matter. So that's important. The other aspect of it is if you want to do it from a business standpoint, understand that if you're doing it from a business standpoint, and what I mean by that is, say if you want to get into maybe reviewing products, or maybe there's a product line that you kind of want to get into that you like, you're not super passionate about, but maybe you have knowledge on, or you feel you could do it well if you put in the work. And that aspect, you may not have the quote unquote passion for it, but at the same time, you will, if you view it like a business, you put in the work into it, there are other benefits to that as well. We'll get into that when it comes to things like sponsorship, because at that point, it goes beyond just a topic that you're passionate about. It goes into like a business standpoint, and we'll kind of break down those two. So understand that's first and foremost. Are you going to get into a topic you're passionate about? Or are you going to do a business aspect? Or maybe you want to do both. You have two channels or multiple channels where you have the ones that you're passionate about and a business standpoint. Okay. So jumping into what I think you would have to do once you establish that. The first thing is record a lot. Like do a lot of recording. In the beginning, it's not about quality as much as quantity. So grab your phone, however you're going to record on. I would say get a little bit of like some type of mic device. It doesn't have to be expensive, whether it's wired, maybe it's wireless, but you can find things that are very cheap that are pretty good quality. In the beginning, I started with a wired lavalier mic. Eventually, I moved on to a small wireless one that was maybe $25. The quality on it was still very good. The type that like clips into your phone, USB-C, has a little pinch to go on your collar, and that was fine. Eventually, I upgraded to the one I'm using here now, which is by Hollyland. And this was a bit more expensive, but nonetheless, you will eventually like increase your quality as time goes on, preferably as you start to go past 500 subscribers or maybe more. But I would say, like I said, first and foremost is quantity over quality. You got to put out those videos. And I'm not even going to say it's because of necessarily feeding the algorithm. The algorithm is a little different now than what it used to be prior. Now it's become, with AI, has changed the landscape completely. And I'm going to dive into that in a moment. But the quantity is just important because it is a little bit about feeding the algorithm, but it's also about the fact that the more topics you're posting, the more likely someone's going to kind of maybe search for that. So that goes into the next topic is make sure your titles are things that will kind of grab people in. It's not that hard. Some people use AI to kind of figure out what the topics are that they want, to write it in a phrase that makes it look nice, it look kind of spiffy to grab people in. But sometimes you could even brainstorm on your own to figure out what is like a topic title that will grab people in, something that, you know, how to, some people do those type of videos, or sometimes it's just things, whatever the subject is, depending on the topic that you decide to brand your channel off of. But just be mindful of that. But the more you put stuff out, the more likely you're going to grab people. The more you grab people, then once that gets started, it becomes a snowball of things. In the very beginning, when I first started my channel, if I did a search for my channel, I couldn't even find my channel. I had to do the search by the name, and then I also had to do a topic title that I knew was on the channel. It wasn't until I got to a certain point that now I can put in the name of my channel and it pops up. So that really comes from, I wouldn't even say because of the subscribers, but because of how many videos that I put out, more so the subscribers, because this channel doesn't have a lot of subscribers. And also too, coming up soon, if not by the time of the recording of this video, I know the time I'm recording this video at 499 subscribers, and thank you guys so much. I am on the way to reaching 500. So thank you guys for getting me there. I'm definitely gonna do a little celebration video for that. Hitting the 500 subscriber mark. Now, jumping in further into, like I said, having a channel, developing a channel. I had briefly mentioned about AI. So now the algorithm works differently. Now it's doing things with AI, and I don't know all the details on it, but it's doing things where, one, it's figuring out how people search, how they do the searches, the topics they're looking things up in. So YouTube is part of Google. So this is going to apply to YouTube more so than any of the other social media platforms that you want to create a channel, that you might want to create a channel on. YouTube is owned by Google. Google obviously has your Google search engine, but now the Google search engine is integrated with Gemini, which is its AI system. And I've used Gemini before for a couple of different things, researching things, asking certain questions, helping me to develop certain ideas. And what I've realized is that Gemini, unlike say something like ChatGPT and any other search engine, at least the best that I know of, it integrates with Google search engine as well. So it's thinking, but it also says, I've got a library of information, because everyone uses Google as a search engine, along with I've got YouTube as a search engine too, because YouTube is a search engine. So at that point, now it's integrated in this way where it's thinking. I read something on it, I forget the details exactly, but it uses different ways now to figure out how your channel gets pushed around. And it's no longer just this basic algorithm. It's now a living algorithm based on the AI. So it's changed now. So just the best advice I can give to you for that is, it's looking at your titles. It's looking at your description in the description box. It's looking at your subscribers and what they normally watch. So it's taking all these things in consideration. So the best thing I could say for that is, like I said, just push out a lot in terms of the quantity and get your titles right. Another thing you want to do is put something in your description. Always put something in your description. Now, one thing I would suggest is, as you kind of get familiar with things, start putting out a lot of videos, go to an AI search engine, type in what your channel's about, you're going to type in something along the lines of, I want a description for my YouTube channel that incorporates themes of whatever your theme is, highlight some of the points, highlight your audience. This is my audience. Say how many words you want it to have. That's going to be something you're going to put inside your general description all the time. So you want it to be something that's kind of general, not too specific, but general to your theme. So that way it's always there. At least that gives you a little bit of a base. Then I would say whatever topic you're putting out at that moment, or whatever whatever topic you're putting out at that moment in regards to that video, you can add some extra details if you want. If you don't, at least you have that general baseline. You can get that, like I said, from using AI for that. And then I would also say too, I'm going to actually double back around, I'm sorry, to the whole business aspect of things, but that's the general layout right there. Now, you could do this with your channel if your channel is something like, say, products. Maybe it's things like multi-tools. Maybe it's things like, I don't know, photography. Maybe it's things, whatever the topic is. And sometimes you can incorporate a more business aspect to it. Everything's going to be a business aspect if your goal is to make money. But what I mean by that is, say if you made a channel specifically reviewing products, because a lot of business orientated channels don't just speak from speaking points like, say, my channel is, which is more of like a self-help, better yourself type of thing like that. I do a couple of, excuse me, reviews on certain things that cater to the lifestyle of self-help. But for the most part, I will say, for the most part, I don't focus on that as a channel. Now, and it looks like my battery's gonna run out. So if my battery runs out short, there's gonna probably be a break inside this video. But for the most part, that's not what I focus the channel on. But at the same time, I do actually have another channel which I focus on a business aspect, and it's just reviewing items. Now, just to give you guys a sense of that, on that type of channel, it's a business because it's just about the products, it's about reviewing things, it's about making money. That's all it's focused on. So with something like that, you can start by joining Amazon's, they have like a 2-tier program. You could join their first basic program, which is you getting links to put inside the description of your videos for products that you review. And that way you could dive into that space where if you do have a channel that's more focused on things like reviews and you're looking at it from a business standpoint, you're looking at it as a making money standpoint. That's what I mean when I say a business standpoint, trying to make money. Obviously, if you have a regular channel on social media that you're doing, you're going to be trying to make money anyway, but it's different than you, I want to say, being proactive with the idea of it's just for the purpose of really making money. And that is what a product channel, I feel, kind of really focuses on. When you think of YouTube, you think of things like sponsorships or whatever the case is. Now, instead of waiting for sponsorships, if you're doing it for a business purpose, and you can do that on whatever channel you have if you're still going to add products into it, like I've done on this channel before, but it's not as heavy. So diving into a more product heavy channel that you might make, where maybe reviewing a specific niche or whatever, you can join in YouTube. They're going to ask you, do you have a social media influencer type of base setup? It could be YouTube, it could be anything, whatever the case is, any of the platforms. And essentially, you could sign up to the tier 1 program. I believe it's called so you have the associates program and the influencer program. I might have those mixed back, twisted one way or the other, but I think the Amazon Associates is the first tier level and the influencer is the second tier level. So in the beginning, you could apply for the associates program. So the way that will work is it allows you to have links that you are able to use for people to buy. Paste those links in the description of your videos, and then from there you'll get a commission. Now, it's not a whole lot, and now YouTube actually recently started doing their own thing with that, where if you aren't partnered up with like Amazon, which I would suggest if you're doing YouTube from a business perspective, sign on to the Amazon anyway, because Amazon's a bigger market and it's kind of been doing this for a while. But YouTube now, trying to get a piece of the pie, has created where if you sign on, you have a product, it will do an automatic search for that product. It'll know the product that you have automatically. Like I said, it's using AI now. And you can press on the description of video, product search. It will grab the links to different places. So for example, it might say Target, it might say Kohl's, and these are different places, and it'll show you commission for that. And some of the commission looks like it'd be more than Amazon, but I would still tell you, do the Amazon program, get the links in it. Why? Because Amazon's a bigger market and more people are signed on Amazon, where they may not have a Target account. They may not have like a Kohl's account or whatever, the one they might lead you to. Sometimes it leads you to Etsy. So I would say start the Amazon Associates program. And once you get into the tier 2 program of that, it gets even bigger, because what you're able to do now is put videos straight to Amazon, and people can now, like if you do a video straight to Amazon, you can get a commission like that. So now you'll have both your channel and you'll have videos directly on Amazon when you get to that level. That requires you to get almost like 400 subscribers on YouTube to get to that level through the Amazon program. But anyway, I digress. So if you're going from a business standpoint, do that. Now, once you hit 1,000 subscribers, when you get monetized on YouTube, I would tell you at that point, definitely start increasing your quality. Maybe get a newer camera. You can still use your phone, and that's not a problem. If you're gonna use your phone, make sure you have good lighting, because lighting is gonna be the key so your phone is not struggling. You don't have to get heavy into the editing, but these are the times once you get past 1,000 subscribers where you want to start increasing your quality, you want to start networking, you want to start figuring out how other people move, maybe other beginner channels, if they're in your neighborhood, your area, or whatever the case is. Reach out to them, try to see if you can connect. Why? Because maybe you could start becoming a part of this space where you start figuring out, tips and this and that. If you got friends who are also in that space, get up with them, collaborate, work with them. This is gonna help you also learn things better, where the things that they do. So even though it might seem like a small thing, it's not someone who's really big, this and that, it's fine, because even you creating your own small network on your same level, it's fine, it's very beneficial. That's when you start going to things with sponsorships. You could reach out to companies after you've gotten already a base level, and especially with whatever it is that you're covering. If you're doing it for a business aspect, or your topic and channel, kind of like I said, could be one and the same. Heavy business plus your passion. Maybe you're into things like EDC, camping gear, all that other kind of stuff, and you're doing all this stuff. Maybe you want to start reaching out to companies like Coleman, and you're like, I want to do, review tents. Send me some of your tents. I want to do Outback stuff, all these kind of stuff into the woods. I'm just using that as an example, but you get what I'm saying. You then can start reaching out to companies and then see if they will sponsor you. So, and you get to that space where they're like, okay, like we don't mind sending you free items. Even if it's not a full-on sponsorship, it could be them sending you free items that you're able to incorporate into your video. And obviously you would speak on it in terms of how you feel about it. But you also have to let them know in the video, this is not a sponsorship necessarily, but I was sent free products from so-and-so company, and I'm gonna do a review in it, whatever the case is. So that's a good way to get started, you guys. I definitely want to say, if you're thinking about it, jump into it. It's not that hard. There are stages that you go through. Also, too, don't overwhelm yourself, but also don't be afraid to go live when that time comes. Why? Because at 500 subscribers, you get the availability of super chats, which allows people to send money into the chats. So if you're doing live and someone wants to donate $1 or $2, you're only going to get that really from going live. So don't be afraid to go live. But like I said, it's a space, it's a time frame, it's where you kind of set things up. But that's my advice when it comes to all that, you guys. So definitely get into that space if you guys are interested, and I wish you guys the best of luck. As always, we're on this channel here to help you guys out, to give advice, to kind of boost everybody, because that is what we're here for. And follow your dreams, follow your passions, and I'm hoping the best for you guys. So as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.